You don't need more confidence, you need fewer lies. Because if you're still weak still, folding under pressure, still quitting when it gets boring, still promising yourself tomorrow, it's not because you lack potential, it's because somewhere along the way you trained your mind to flinch. And the terrifying part is, you didn't train it with one big failure. You trained it with thousands of tiny surrenders that looked harmless. You want the truth? Weakness isn't what you are. It's what you repeatedly practice. So give me 30 minutes and I'll show you why you still feel small inside, even if your life looks fine on the outside. Not with hype, not with inspiration, with clarity. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's start here. You probably think weakness means fear, or lack of discipline, or being unmotivated. No. Weakness is the gap between what you say you'll do and what you actually do. That gap is your real identity, not your goals, not your intentions, not your personality test results. Your identity is your follow-through. And if your follow-through is inconsistent, then your self-respect becomes unstable. And when self-respect becomes unstable, your confidence becomes a performance. You start needing people to believe in you because you don't fully believe in yourself. Now listen closely. Most people are not weak because life is too hard. They're weak because life is too easy to escape. You can escape discomfort in seconds. You can scroll. You can snack. You can message someone. You can message someone. You can watch something. You can V-search instead of act. You can feel productive without producing anything real. And every time you escape, your brain learns a rule. When it hurts, leave. So the next time you face discomfort, you don't even fight. You just drift. That's weakness, not in your body, in your reflex. Think about it. When you're about to do something difficult, study, train, build, create, what shows up first? Not effort, resistance, a heaviness, a delay, a craving for something easier. And most people treat that feeling like a stop sign. They don't realize it's actually a starting gun. That resistance is the exact moment you're supposed to stay. Because the moment you stay, you become stronger. And the moment you leave, you teach yourself you're the type of person who leaves. Now I'm going to walk you through the real reasons you're still weak. And I'm not doing it to insult you. I'm doing it because you deserve a life that doesn't collapse every time it gets uncomfortable. Here's the first reason. You keep confusing intensity with strength. You'll have one serious day, one hard workout, one deep cleaning session, one night where you swear you're done with your old life. And it feels powerful. But then the next day, you disappear, and you tell yourself you failed because you weren't motivated enough. No, you failed because you tried to win with emotion. Emotion is not strength. Emotion is weather. Strength is what remains when the weather changes. Real discipline is boring. It's repetitive. It's unsexy. It's the same choice, made again without applause. And most people can't handle that. Not because it's hard, but because it's quiet. They want their improvement to feel dramatic. But growth doesn't feel dramatic. It feels like showing up when you'd rather not. Which brings us to the second reason you're still weak. You keep negotiating with yourself, and every negotiation is a vote against your future. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it later. I'll just take today off. I deserve a break. Let me translate what that actually means. My word doesn't matter. And if your word doesn't matter, then nothing you build will last, because everything you build sits on top of your word. Here's the brutal math. If you break promises to yourself, you don't just lose progress, you lose trust. And when you stop trusting yourself, you become dependent on mood, reminders, and external pressure. That's why you can work hard for someone else, but not for yourself. Because someone else's consequences feel real. Your own consequences feel distant. So you postpone. And every postponement makes you weaker. Now here's the third reason. You're addicted to comfort and you call it self-care. I'm not against rest. I'm against fake rest. Fake rest is when you relax, but your mind becomes more chaotic. You consume junk and you feel foggy. You avoid effort and you feel guilty. That's not recovery. That's sedation. Real self-care makes you more capable. Fake self-care makes you more fragile. If your version of rest makes you softer, slower, more easily irritated, more easily tempted, it's not rest. It's training for weakness. And that brings me to something you might not want to hear. You can't become strong without losing something. You will lose time. You will lose certain habits. You will lose certain relationships. You will lose the version of you that fits in effortlessly, because strength has a cost, and weakness also has a cost. The only difference is weakness charges you every day. Strength charges you up front. So if you've been avoiding discipline, you haven't been avoiding pain. You've been choosing a different kind of pain, one that lasts longer. Now I promised you 30 minutes, so let's make this practical. I'm going to give you a simple system that exposes weakness instantly and builds strength fast. Not because it's magical, because it removes the two things that destroy most people: decision fatigue and negotiation. Here it is. You need a minimum non-negotiable. One action you do daily, no matter what. Small enough that you can't excuse it. Serious enough that it builds identity. Because the goal isn't to do a huge amount. The goal is to become the kind of person who does what they said every day. If you're trying to get fit, your minimum might be 20 minutes of movement, not a perfect workout. Movement. If you're trying to study, your minimum might be 30 minutes of deep work, not reading random tips. Deep work. If you're trying to build something, your minimum might be one measurable output. One page. One design. One sales message. One practice session. Now, you're going to feel something immediately when you set a minimum. Your ego will hate it, because your ego wants heroic plans. Your ego wants a transformation story in a week. But heroic plans fail because they rely on heroic moods. Minimums succeed because they rely on reality. Now here's the part most people avoid. To protect your minimum, you need to make a social sacrifice. Yes, social. Because the fastest way to stay weak is to keep living like you owe everyone access to you. Strong people are not available all the time. They are not down for anything. They are not endlessly flexible. They have a fixed relationship with their priorities. So if you're doing a 100-day challenge, you need a line you do not cross. That means some invitations get declined. Some nights end early. Some conversations get shorter. Some people get annoyed. And you will feel guilty. But guilt is not always a warning. Sometimes guilt is just withdrawal from the old version of you. Now let's talk about what happens around day 10 to day 20. This is where the challenge becomes real, because you won't be excited anymore. You won't feel inspired. You'll just feel normal, and your brain will whisper, "See? Nothing changed. Stop." That's the moment most people prove what they actually are. If you stop there, you're telling yourself, "I only work when it feels rewarding." But if you continue, you send a different message. "I work because I decided." And that message changes everything. Now I need you to watch for 3 traps. The traps that keep people weak even when they're trying. Trap 1, you miss one day and you quit the whole thing. That's perfectionism disguised as standards. The strong mindset is simple. Never miss twice. 1 miss is life. 2 misses is a new habit. Trap 2, you wait until you feel ready. You will never feel ready. Readiness is not a feeling. It's a decision you honor. Trap 3, you confuse planning with progress. Planning is safe. Progress is risky. Planning gives you control. Progress forces you to face your current level. Weakness loves control. Strength loves reality. So here's the final truth. Your weakness is not a mystery. It's a pattern. And today you can break the pattern with one clean action that proves you're done negotiating. Here's what I want you to do when this ends. Pick one 100-day challenge. Just one. Write your minimum non-negotiable in 1 sentence. Then set a daily alarm labeled with the exact minimum. Not workout, not study, the minimum. And then do day 1 today before you sleep, even if it's late, even if it's imperfect, because you're not building a perfect routine. You're building a stronger identity. And now a question I want you to answer in the comments. Honestly, no performance. What's the one habit you keep postponing that would instantly make you respect yourself again?